Hola, muchachos. I want to take a little bit of time here to explain our Árbol de Familia activity. Okay, this will be participation, and so it'll officially be due at the end of the week, but we are going to take a handful of minutes today to work on this, making it a little personal as we describe our own families. Okay, so we want to personalize it to ourselves, right? Being able to use this vocabulary to talk about our own family members. So what we have here is, let me make it a little smaller so it can fit on the screen here. Almost. All right. So what we have here is a family tree, árbol de familia. What I want you to do is to fill in the blanks here with the names of those family members that apply. Okay, so this will be this first part, just recognizing the vocabulary that's already there. Okay. Now, if you do not have a family member that would go in one of those spaces, let's say you do not have sobrinos, right? You can either leave it blank or put an X. The other thing is if you have more than the allotted lines, just pick a couple. So let's say you have my uncle Mark and my aunt Tina have 3 kids instead of just 2 here. So my cousins, I have more than 2 cousins for that aunt and uncle. Just put 2 of them. Okay, we want to kind of. I don't want to overwhelm you by having you do every single one of your family members. Just cut it if you're missing some spaces there for them, or you have more than the spaces. Once you've done that, what I want you to do is to go to the back. If you're looking at the electronic version, we're going to the second page. And what you're going to do is you're going to use 1 to 2 adjectives to describe each family member. Now, we can use some of the adjectives that we've learned: alto, bajo, guapo, feo, simpático, antipático, right? Cómico, serio. So those are some of the ones that we learned. If you'd like to use any other adjectives that we have not learned, you can look those up. So if you have some idea like they're silly or they are athletic or something that you would like to do there that is not one of our vocab words, just use Spanish Dictionary to look those up. Now, I kind of gave us a model here starting with grandparents. So everything on the left side will be your dad's side of the family. Okay, everything on the right side is going to be your mom's side of the family. Okay, so you're going to fill in just whatever you can with what we filled in here. So what we're going to do is you're going to fill in the blanks. I gave you some examples. So this is kind of what I'm looking for when we are looking at, let's say, for example, our abuelo or, our abuelo. So it says mi abuelo paterno. If we look down here, paterno. Se llama Alberto, él es cómico y alto. Mi abuela paterna se llama Shirley, ella es seria y inteligente. One other note I put here, if you don't have a certain family member, I still want you to fill it in. So let's say you don't have any aunts or uncles on your dad's side. Okay, I still want you to write a sentence, and this is how you'll do it. You'll say, no tengo, and then whatever that family member is. If it's an uncle, we say no tengo tío. Okay, so that'll be a fun little new thing. We'll get into what tengo means. It comes from the verb to have, right? So what we're saying there is I don't have an uncle or whatever it is. Could be nephew or cousins or whatever. Okay. All right. Now, one other note here, and this applies to me as in my example. These are my grandparents, my real grandparents on my dad's side. Unfortunately, they passed away a number of years ago. But what you can do, you can still write as if it's in the present, like they're still alive. Okay, so that's kind of what I did. It would get kind of tricky to try to describe them in the past tense, like they were funny and tall, for example, or whatever it may be. So you can just write that. We're going to get into Day of the Dead here soon at the end of the month. Day of the Dead is a Mexican holiday, and so you can think about it like that. We have our Day of the Dead coming up, and what a lot of cultures in Mexico particularly believe is that during the Day of the Dead, all of your family members come back in spirit. And so you can kind of think of it like that. they're coming back in spirit, right? All right. So I want you to fill in as much as you can, okay, in the time that we are going to take in class, which will be about 12 minutes. So that should be a good amount of time for you to get started or completely finish. If you do finish early, okay, what you can do is move on to just the next activity, which will be exploring our next country for this week, which will be Panama. Okay, so we're almost to South America, the last little country there before we get to South America. Although Panama used to actually be part of South America when that was kind of its own kind of country. But that's a story for another day. So I want you to go through this, do as much as you can with describing, and do the best you can. Again, this is participation for the week. So when I get back, which should be Tuesday, okay, if you do have questions and we have some free time, or if we wait till Thursday during our participation work time, if you have questions, please let me know. But I want you to try your best to describe different family members. And so that is that. Muy bien, muchachos.